which kind of suggests we get a little bit fat during the good times, but that's for another day. Anyway, what happened last time is people downsized like this. So at the end of the downturn, and there is only one real certainty out of all of this economic milieu, and that's that it will end. At the end of the difficulties, we were left with organisations that had a management structure that looked like that, a lopsided Christmas tree. The only sensible economic model for downsizing, let me reconstruct my firm, was this, straight off the side, in equal proportion. And then you're left with the capacity, firstly, to survive, secondly, to go forward with a sensible leverage structure. The last thing you want to do, not that I want to declare open season on partners, but the last thing you want to do is end up with a structure like that. Your end of the profession, by the way, is, and I'm talking here to those of you who are in smaller to mid-sized firms, we're going to see, regardless of recessionary times, we're going to see a lot of challenge in the market, because your profession at the moment looks like this. All right, so we have a glut, as it were, 50 plus years of age partners, 95% of whom are male. Down here, we've got a glut at graduate level. That glut's going to increase. If the federal government does what it says it's going to do, and we essentially have law school on demand, law remains the most popularly subscribed faculty in every Australian university that offers it. So quite feasibly, given they can find the teaching resources, they can offer, under the new model of delivery, they can offer as much as can be had. Now, in the profession, we've had fairly effective closure mechanisms through obtainment of a job, obtainment of a practising certificate, post-law degree practice training and what have you. But that will have an impact, there's no doubt about that. Interestingly enough, in excess of 75% of these people are female. Interesting imbalance. In the middle here, there's a glut at associate level. These are all of the people who came into the law during the last proliferation of law schools. So when I first started working with lawyers, you could study law at 6 institutions in Australia. Now you can study it in upwards of 20, including those that you can do it by correspondence. A lot of those kids are sitting here. One of the things that we're going to see happen, if you want a prediction, is I think that a lot of these people here, who are particularly talented, are going to go like that. I suspect that we're going to see a bit of a lost generation in the profession in Australia. For some of you, that'll provide an employment opportunity, and for some of you, if you sit in that population, it'll probably scare you. But frankly, a hell of a lot of these people haven't done a heck of a lot other than whinge for a long time. So I'm seeing people who have only been out for 1 year or 18 months, 2 years, frankly, who are brilliant. They want to work, and let's, you know, this is a time-based business. There's a direct correlation between hard work and outcome. The money monster doesn't just fly over every Friday. So this is going to be a big challenge culturally for us to manage, but it's probably for another day. That's going to go on in and around these economically hard times. So it's there are going to be casualties, but I suspect that most of them will sit probably here. There'll also be a few casualties at the top end here. So it's going to be a pretty interesting time. The other thing, let me say, the last thing I'll say, because I want to give you an opportunity to ask some questions. The last thing I'll say is that I've been studying the law for a long time, and both the history of the legal profession in Australia and also the current profession. And the one thing that I think you should walk away from this exercise with is this observation. Since we've been recording accurate data on the performance of law firms in Australia, which is since 1962, the chicken lickens have consistently been wrong. Ultimately, the skies stayed up. Through that time, we've seen deregulation of conveyancing, we've seen governments interfering with negligence litigation, an ability of a lawyer to advertise. We've seen a hell of a lot of non-lawyer incursion into the marketplace. All of those challenges the profession survived. I'm happy to guarantee you that we're going to survive this one too. But there will be a few casualties along the way. So, at the end of the day, I'm relatively optimistic, but cautiously so. So essentially batten down the hatches and hang on, I guess is my message. Now, let me throw it open and ask you if you've got any questions of me, general or specific. If you... Bit of just-in-time processing in my life at the moment. I've got actually some additional notes, some strategic how-to stuff that I didn't have time to put up here that I'll also provide you. If you just leave your business card behind on the table at the end of this session, I'll pick them all up and email them to you. That's probably the quickest way for me to get them to you. So yes is the answer to that. Well, that is happening right now in terms of the demographic of the profession. I think we'll see this over the next 4 to 5 years. When I first started working with lawyers in Queensland, when you were 26, if you weren't a partner, people were talking about you, usually when you weren't in the room, but they were talking about you. So what normally happened is you went to university, you did your 2 years articles, your first year of practice after you've completed your articles in smaller firms, you got the tap on the shoulder. Congratulations, the partners have borrowed some money on your behalf. We'd like you to join us for drinks on Friday afternoon. Sign here. That's how it used to work. Every year since, admissions have happened later in somebody's practicing career, to the point now where the expectation of equity partnership usually doesn't happen until mid to late 30s. I think we'll see it come down significantly. The profession still has some big strategic issues to think through though, like the glass ceilings that we pretend don't exist but are getting thicker and thicker and thicker and thicker. So there are some big strategic challenges, but you'll see this happen, in my view, without doubt. The economics of it make it compelling too, because these people traditionally have generated around $4, let me be a bit mercenary, around $4.50 for every salary dollar we invest in them. These people here struggle to generate $2.50 for every salary dollar we invest in them. So, you know, that's what's going to happen. Everyone's going to scrutinise very closely the financial performance of it.
Neil, as usual, a great presentation. Thank you. Legal recruiters, are they part of the problem, part of the solution at the moment?
A smart man would ask if there are any in the room before he showed his prejudice. Can I talk to you about this after? I think the legal recruiters have provided a necessary service for a while. Having said that, it's an industry, and these aren't FMRC's comments, these are Neil Oakes' comments. I have no assets. That, having said that, there is no doubt whatsoever that the significant majority of the churn was produced by the rise and rise of the legal placement industry. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. Organisational psychologists talk about heightened awareness. If I ring you every 3 months and ask you whether you're happy, whether or not you are happy becomes academic, because you will start to question it. It's like when you decide you're going to buy a new car, right? You're going to get a white Subaru. All of a sudden, every second car you see on the road is a white Subaru. You operate with that sort of level of awareness. Every single recruiter that I've met says to me, oh, we would never do anything as unprofessional as ring a placed candidate 3 to 6 months after they've been placed to make sure they're happy. Yet every candidate tells me that's exactly what happens. So I don't have any evidence to suggest that that sort of thing goes on, but frankly it's not an industry that I'm more than enamoured with.
Neil, Tony, comments warm up.